I think first and foremost, the cup final is just a great opportunity for the club, fans, and the club itself to host such a big game. Again, we've been so well supported over the years. I think it's just fantastic that the fans get to come out and watch the team compete for a trophy. We obviously know how tough the opponent is. They've shown that over particularly the last 15, 16 games, how hard to beat they've been. So we expect a very tough game. I think anyone that follows the USL can see how tough every game is. And both leagues, East and West, are both very tight. So I think we'll expect a tight affair tomorrow night.
Yeah, to reiterate what Coach is saying, we're just very excited to be playing in a cup. The day Coach took over this club, he was very clear on the goals. He was very clear on the expectations of this club, and that was to add some more silverware to this franchise. So, we're very fortunate. We're excited. We know it's going to be a tough task tomorrow with a good opponent ahead of us, but, I think we're ready. Yeah, I think everyone knows, and I think a lot of guys are probably here for that reason. They know how we have the best fans in the league. We sell out a lot. It's a hostile environment, and it's a great atmosphere to play in. So, I think they're very aware, and I think the coaching staff has done a good job of telling us to be present. We just take it day by day. Obviously, we're excited, but the guys are ready. The guys will be ready tomorrow. Yeah, probably, and that's part of playing in the final, playing in big games. But that's what we play for. That's why we play the sport, and that's why we compete. We just got to be focused on what our task is, and stick to our game plan.
I genuinely believe to do the things that got you there. Again, I think people that play and coach understand it's part of our job to be in these games, and being able to do what you normally do in those occasions. That's the challenge. It's not about doing anything different, but the thing that makes a lot of people great is they're able to do what they normally do in the biggest moments. And we've got guys that have done that. Obviously, Roro's sitting next to me. That's why he's held in such high regard, has been able to produce what he does on a regular basis in some of the bigger moments. And I think we've got a lot of guys that can do that. So, yeah, I think it's that. And again, I think we're here for a reason. I think we're here because we've got good sides. And we've got a team that's not here by chance. They're here because they're able to perform at the right times. So that should stand us in good stead.
What cup? I'm trying not to look, but no. Like we said, since day one, Coach came in, expectations were clear to add, more stars to the crest and to put this franchise back where it should be, winning championships. And it's going to be a hard night. Like I said, we have a tough opponent. We're excited. We deserve to be here. I think both teams deserve to be here. I think probably two of the hottest teams in USL right now at the moment. So it's going to be a very good game.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because, yes, we set out with the objective of going as far as we possibly could. But I also think there was different priorities at that point. I think Roro being one of them, in that he was probably at a point where we're really just getting him back into playing. So we felt that these were great opportunities coming off the back of 12 months out. Good games, slightly different out of the league. That was one example. We had other examples where the team was able to find its feet, and we just took it game at a time. Listen, it's definitely a tournament where you couldn't afford to lose a couple of games or drop points. We dropped one game. but the players have been at it. But then now, certainly once you get closer, it definitely becomes more realistic, and I think at that point we knew that it was important to win, but we also had other key things that we tried to get right.
Coach, how do you view this, I don't want to call it a unique situation because you already had it in Las Vegas this season, but you're playing Hartford back-to-back weeks, once here, once there. The trophy's on the line in this one, but how do you just view this 2-week stretch?
Genuinely honest, I've not thought about next week. I've not thought past Saturday evening. I think you'll hear me speak a lot about the short and long term, the next game, but we're also considering this week's very much been about this week. We'll worry about the back-to-back nature. I think a lot depends on how tomorrow night goes, how the game is, what happens. Hartford have got another game on Tuesday evening, but on Sunday morning or maybe even Monday morning, I'll really start considering that fact that is unusual. I think the fact that it's a final tomorrow night makes it even more unusual, and we'll probably add a little bit extra come next Saturday, but we'll worry about tomorrow first.
And then my last question is, what did it mean to this team, to this franchise, to this city they've already clinched playoffs on?
I said to the players, never take it for granted. Our expectations are more than just to qualify for the playoffs, because I think it's the club that we are, but I also work for another club in the USL, and you can see how hard they're battling to get into the playoffs right now. And you maybe wouldn't have thought that a year or two ago, but you can't take it for granted. The league's becoming more competitive. The teams are all so tough to beat, so it's a credit to the guys that with 4 games left, we're already in the playoffs, and we'll concentrate tomorrow night, and then after tomorrow night, we'll really focus on trying to finish as high as we possibly can.
Sí, es todo, ¿no? Es muy especial poder tener esa oportunidad de jugar de local, un campeonato, una final. La estamos tomando como lo es, una final, una oportunidad de jugar y levantar una copa, que para eso se juega. Yo siempre he querido ganar campeonatos, ese siempre ha sido mi sueño, y poder hacerlo enfrente de esta ciudad que me ha dado mucho a mí, en especial, para mí es todo, ¿no? Ojalá y mañana podamos salir adelante y salir triunfando.
Y tú que estuviste justamente en esa escuadra desde el 2014, ¿qué lecciones tomas de esa experiencia para mañana, como capitán ahora, para que el equipo esté mentalmente preparado y que puedan sobrellevar no solamente la presión de una final, sino de nuevo la presión de hacerlo en frente del público local?
Fíjese que he jugado tantos años que la presión, la verdad, no, viendo y estando muchos años en este ámbito, la presión para mí en el fútbol no existe, la verdad. Yo creo que la presión es cuando uno no tiene para comer, o no tiene dónde vivir, o no tiene cómo mantener una familia, pero para nosotros es salir y hacer lo que venimos haciendo desde el primer día. El equipo viene muy bien, está muy bien preparado, y con eso tenemos un equipo muy unido. Somos una familia dentro del vestidor y con el cuerpo técnico, así que si uno está medio nervioso o le pega un poco lo de la final, ahí vamos a estar los demás, ¿no? Así, eso es lo que hacen un equipo y una unión de grupo. Sí.
Yeah, coach, question for coach. Just a little bit about the value of having pretty much 2 number 1 keepers. You used Jared throughout the cup. I assume starting tomorrow, he's earned that right. It seems you have that confidence. And having a returning goalkeeper of the year and having Jared come in, how has that been for you as a coach? To just punch somebody in like that and perform at that level.
Yeah, it was one of the first things I recognised when we assessed the squad. Obviously, Danny's been, I've coached against Danny before, I'm very well aware, and I knew that Jared was real potential. I think it's a credit to the both of them how much they've pushed each other. I think there's no question that Danny's form and then Jared's form, they're competitive guys, but they also do it in the right way, and it's been fantastic. I think it's been fantastic. I've been in this situation before with goalkeepers, and if you lose it, you just never ever know when something happens to one. And the ability to bring someone in that's performing at the level Jared's got has been huge. But the two players have to take a lot of the credit for the way they train. It can be very difficult in Jared's position sometimes, knowing that you're going to go potentially 4 or 5 games without playing. He trains every day like he's going to play the next game, and that's why he's performed so well. So yeah, I think we're very, very fortunate as a club to have such quality in that position, because I look across the league and it's difficult to find.
And Rowan, I wanted to ask you, you've been this is your third cup now, where the captains are, and going to battle with some guys who've been there before. You guys have managed having some of those veterans who've been through some of these final games that know the pressure that's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel like pressure in this game really exists. I think I've been in this game for a very long time, and after going through what I went through last year, I think with my son being in surgery, I think that was more pressure than going out to the field and performing. But I feel like we have such a united group. We're a family in that locker room, and of course, it's probably going to be a little overwhelming for some players that haven't been in that situation, but that's why we're a team, and we have the experience that we have on the team. We have coach who's been a great leader for us and gives us that confidence to just go out and do what we're supposed to do. So I think they'll be okay. We have a great group of leaders on that team that are going to push us through.
Can you tell me more about Hartford FC? What do they present to you guys? What type of opponent are they?
Very difficult opponent. I think the stat that has came up this week is they've lost 3 games in 16. They've been very, very good on the road. I think we've equally been very good on the road. So Brendan is obviously a coach that's been around the league a long time, knows what it takes to win in the different environments. I think when you look through their squad, relatively similar to ours, guys that are all league, Jordan Scarlett, Farrell, Nangalina, players that have had honours, individual honours for the league. So similar to ourselves, guys that know what it takes to win, know what it takes to be impactful. So again, that's why they've got here on the back of some of that experience, and obviously Brendan been able to get the best out of them. Momentum's big, I think. Once teams get a bit of momentum, a bit of consistency about their kind of identity, that's obviously a big thing. So we expect a very difficult game based on those factors. Big physical guys that, as I say, know the league.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're expecting a sellout, right? And I've been to many sports games in this town, and I could say in this country, I don't think I've seen anything like it. With the basketball, with the Kings or with Republic, they've always been there. And yeah, just be loud. I think we're gonna feed off their energy as well, and it could be an extra push for us to come out and hopefully lift the cup. It's been the same. I mean, we prepare every game the same, especially in this cup. I think we've treated it really serious. AB Alta, Spokane, lower division teams prepared the same way. And that just shows you a lot about this cup. We had to go to Spokane and win and waited on some results, correct? So this is, that's one of the reasons why we're here. So every game we've treated it with the seriousness that it should. And this game's no different. We prepare. These guys do a very good job of scouting and dissecting, teams and putting a game plan together. So, same way. Yeah, he's actually the reason why I'm still playing. My head was leaning towards retirement after last year, after I tore my ACL, and um, I don't think there's ever a right time. I don't know, Coach Neal could tell me that, but I don't think there's ever a right time to retire. I think it's always going to be hard, especially for me. I've been playing for 22 years now, but Roman's the reason why I'm playing, and I just saw him every day and just motivated me, every day to do better and to come back and not just come back and play and see how I was, but to come back and try to contribute to the team and give to the team what I could do. I'm working hard every day. I still think I could give a little more, but it takes time with an injury like that. But I'm happy. I'm excited, and yeah.
I think we've got one question from William Bonilla. William, you want to go ahead and unmute?
Rodrigo, felicidades por esta nueva final. Debe ser el único jugador o uno de pocos jugadores que van a tener la oportunidad en su carrera de jugar tres finales con diferentes ramas de futbolistas. ¿Cómo ves de diferente los vestuarios para esa final y qué significa este es tu propio mundial, ¿no?
Sí, para mí es todo, ¿no? Especialmente en el punto de mi carrera que estoy ahorita. Creo que cada partido lo considero una final para mí. No sé qué partido vaya a ser el último partido para mí, así que para contestar tu pregunta, el equipo está muy bien preparado. Yo creo que es lo mejor que hemos preparado en las tres finales que he jugado con este equipo. Yo creo que es la que mejor me he sentido. No confiado porque hay que respetar al rival, pero es la final que entro con menos nervios, ¿no? Y con más ganas de estar ahí y ojalá de poder levantar la copa con el equipo de local.
All right, unless anyone else has anything in the room, we're basically at time. So appreciate everyone's attendance. Thank you for everyone that joined us online. We'll flip over the room to Hartford. So thank you, Coach Neal.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Thank you.
guys.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.